This is a Danish English special report on the Trump saga. Trump's Greenland push and Peace Council ignite global tensions and UK outrage. Welcome to Danish Info News TV, January 24th. From Davos to the Arctic, from NATO tensions to controversial peace councils, the world is watching as US President Donald Trump shakes the global order. In this report, we cover everything from the anger in the United Kingdom to Trump's bold Greenland ambitions, trade threats against Europe, and a new international peace council that could challenge the UN. Stay tuned to understand the unfolding drama that could redefine diplomacy, alliances, and international power. Anger in the United Kingdom. Donald Trump's recent comments about NATO troops in Afghanistan have sparked widespread outrage in the United Kingdom. He claimed that European NATO soldiers stayed away from the front line during the war and questioned whether allied countries would step up if the United States needed them. "We never needed them. We never really asked them for anything. Will they be there if we need them?" "That's really the ultimate test," Trump said. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer called the remarks insulting and shocking, emphasizing that he would personally apologize if he had spoken in such a way. He highlighted the bravery and sacrifices of British service members and the pain felt by families who lost loved ones. Prince Harry, a veteran of 2 deployments to Afghanistan, echoed these sentiments. He stressed that NATO soldiers' sacrifices deserve respect, pointing to the thousands of lives irrevocably changed and families left grieving. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk also criticized Trump, reminding the world of Poland's fallen soldiers and their contributions to the coalition. NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte praised the courage of Allied troops and reaffirmed commitments to support Europe and the United States. Trump's comments, combined with his push to acquire Greenland, have further strained relations with European allies, creating both diplomatic and economic tension. Trump's Greenland campaign. Trump has repeatedly stated that Greenland is vital for US national and global security. He has insisted there is no going back on his campaign to acquire the semi-autonomous Danish territory. He shared private messages from European leaders, including French President Emmanuel Macron and NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte. In Macron's message, the French president said he agreed with Trump on Syria and Iran, but did not understand the reasoning behind Greenland. Macron offered to call a meeting of industrialized nations in Paris and proposed a dinner with Trump, addressing him as "my friend." Rutte's message was friendly as well, pledging to highlight Trump's action in Syria, Gaza, and Ukraine, while committing to find a way forward on Greenland. Trump confirmed meetings with European parties on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney warned that the Greenland dispute reflects deeper global fissures, calling the idea of a rule-based international order an illusion and a fiction. Dutch Foreign Minister David Van Wiel noted that leaders must now consider the possibility that private messages could be made public, calling it part of the new diplomacy. Trump also criticized Britain's planned handover of the Chavos Islands to Mauritius, calling it great stupidity and linking it to the necessity of acquiring Greenland. Macron and the EU bazooka. In response to Trump's Greenland ambitions and repeated tariff threats, French President Emmanuel Macron warned that the world is heading toward a world without rules. He stressed that Europe must protect its sovereignty and act decisively against coercive trade tactics. Macron highlighted the EU's anti-coercion instrument, nicknamed the bazooka. This allows the EU to block US companies from participating in EU public procurement, deny American companies the right to invest or use patents in Europe, impose export bans or restrictions on goods critical to the US. He stressed that Europe must not passively accept the law of the strong and should use these tools if threatened in a trade conflict. Macron also emphasized that France's and the EU's military presence in Greenland is meant to support Denmark, not to threaten anyone. Trade threats and AI-generated flags. Trump has escalated tensions by threatening tariffs ranging from 10% to 25% on goods from Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the UK, the Netherlands, and Finland. He also suggested a 200% punitive tariff on French wine and champagne, pressuring Macron to join the proposed Board of Peace for Gaza. Adding to the spectacle, Trump shared AI-generated images showing the American flag planted in Greenland and Canada. Despite these dramatic gestures, he has signaled that he will hold diplomatic discussions with European leaders during Davos. Macron's office rejected tariff threats as an unacceptable attempt to influence French policy, reaffirming respect for the United Nations. He reiterated that Europe prefers respect over coercion, highlighting the need for growth, stability, and international order. Trump's peace council and potential UN undermining. In January of 2026, Trump established his so-called Peace Council at a ceremony in Davos, reportedly costing $1 billion to become a permanent member. The council includes a mix of authoritarian leaders and Trump loyalists such as Hungarian Viktor Orban and Argentina's Javier Milei. Other invited members include Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu, Belarus's Alexander Lukashenko, and potentially Russia's Vladimir Putin. Originally approved by the UN Security Council to monitor a ceasefire in Gaza, the Council has expanded into what experts describe as a quasi-international organization under Trump's control. Trump serves as a council chairman for life with veto powers over membership and the authority to appoint his successor. Critics warn that the council could undermine the UN Security Council as membership can be effectively bought for $1 billion, raising concerns about accountability and legitimacy. Some European countries, including Sweden, Norway, France, and the UK, have declined participation, citing concerns over Russia's involvement and the broader international order. Canada also withdrew after reviewing the Council's structure. Experts note that while Trump claims the Council will cooperate with the UN, it risks creating parallel power structures that challenge established international norms. However, some analysts caution that despite Trump's rhetoric, the UN remains a critical instrument for global security and is unlikely to be replaced. American governor calls world leaders pathetic. California Governor Gavin Newsom sharply criticized the lack of EU pushback against Trump, calling the EU and other leaders pathetic for failing to show strength. "I can't stand seeing this complicity where people just lay flat. It's simply pathetic," Newsom said, describing Trump as a T-Rex dinosaur. "Either you mate with him or he eats you. You have to stand up to him." Danish member of European Parliament Morten Løkkegaard agreed, emphasizing the importance of Europe keeping its tools, like the EU's bazooka, in reserve. Donald Trump must always feel that there is a big stick somewhere he could get hit with, Lukugo said. Leaders must speak politely but have the hammer ready in the background. The EU's anti-coercion instrument allows Europe to deny US companies the right to invest in EU member states, block US companies from using patents in Europe, exclude US companies from public procurements in the EU, affecting firms like Microsoft, Johnson & Johnson, and General Electric, impose export restrictions on critical goods needed by the US. European leaders, including Macron, have indicated they are prepared to use these tools if necessary, demonstrating strength without resorting to submission or aggression. Global reactions and NATO tensions. Trump's actions have triggered global concern over NATO's unity and the stability of international alliances. European leaders are holding crisis meetings to coordinate responses to Greenland, the Peace Council, and trade threats. Canadian Prime Minister Carney stressed that the world is experiencing a rupture in the international system, not just a transition. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent of the US urged partners to remain calm and allow tensions to play out, emphasizing that US-Europe relations remain strong. The situation underscores the delicate balance between diplomacy, trade, and military alliances as the world watches whether these escalating tensions will be resolved peacefully or lead to deeper fractures in international cooperation. The future of US-Europe relations. As Trump doubles down on Greenland, trade threats, and the Peace Council, European responses are solidifying. NATO unity, EU sovereignty, and the global rules-based order are all being tested. The unfolding events in Davos, the Arctic, and on the international stage may redefine US-Europe relations for years to come. The world is watching closely to see whether diplomacy, economic countermeasures, and alliances can withstand Trump's ambitions, or whether new global fractures will emerge. That concludes this in-depth look at the Trump saga. From controversial remarks about NATO troops to Greenland tensions and a billion-dollar peace council, the world's watching closely, and so should you. What do you think about Trump's actions and Europe's response? Could his peace council undermine the UN, or is it just political theater? Share your thoughts in the comments below and state where you're watching from. For the latest updates on global politics, be sure to subscribe to Danish Info News TV and hit the notification bell. Stay informed, stay engaged, and join the conversation. Danish Info News TV, your source for international news in context.